Ronnie Duval.
Adam Cordova.
So what have you been up to?
Nothing, just hanging out, being retired.
It's a good life, right?
I laugh every payday.
You used to call me and laugh at when you got your check. I can't believe I'm getting paid this.
Well, I never believe when people say you're losing money by still working. Mm-hmm. I go, but I'm getting overtime. They're laughing. It goes, I'm making as much as you without working overtime.
We had that conversation. I told you, why are you still here?
Well, I like being homicide.
Yeah.
And I wanted the clock.
Yeah, I wanted the clock. I know you were talking last time about when you were at Firestone, and I was thinking, what the time frame when I got to the jails are new cop. The first deputy we buried was Yamamoto. Were you at Firestone when Yamamoto was there? Mm-hmm. That was Walnut Park, right?
Yeah, that Tim Miley wrote the warrant. Him and I went to find a judge. We found one over in Ladera Heights.
Ladera Heights.
Yeah, it was a black female judge. When she was the one on call, we got there. She answers the door in a negligee.
Oh, Jesus.
She's tall, too. She's like 6 foot.
Okay.
She got a glass of whiskey. And she's here for the warrant. She goes, yeah. She goes, you guys want to come in and jump in the jacuzzi? We're like, we're in the middle of an investigation. And she goes, well, come back afterwards.
Oh, my God.
Me and Tim were
I haven't heard this one.
Yeah, me and Tim were like, what? And we.
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
Yeah. And when I came on, there was a guy from my, it wasn't my academy class, but he was in my class that went to patrol. And Holguin, he was killed over in Bell.
I remember that.
On his way home from work, there on Florence.
I remember that too. The thing about, I brought up Yamamoto because Sal came in here and he gave me some information. I have to go through it, but it basically talks about how when he went to Martin Luther King, how they screwed it all up and pretty much did him. And it lays it out. I mean, doctors' time, what they administered.
The family got a settlement, but
they did.
It's never been told what the amount was.
But it was the documentation I was reading was
right.
It was
had to
sad.
do with blood thinners and blood.
Yeah, they were double dosing and basically and putting too much of this and that. But they're the reason he didn't walk out of there. Because I heard from guys that I know that he was sitting up on the gurney talking to people.
Well, remember, Martin Luther King Hospital had a nickname, Killer King.
Yes.
So
come up in here a couple times.
I was in patrol, and that was the first time I met Burrell from Compton PD. And we were standing there. I forgot who I was working with. It might have been Copeland. But they rolled in this guy first they roll in a gunshot victim. And the treating doctor jumps on top of him, and he's pumping on him. And the ER rooms had these giant, like, metal doors that they would slide.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's on top of the guy, and he's slicing him open, and he's yelling for the shears, which were literally rose pruning shears, to crack the rib cage. And we're watching, and they crack the rib cage, they pull it off, and the doctor just starts massaging his heart as they roll him in and close the doors.
Yeah.
Other victims come in. They only had 3 ERs, trauma ERs. And I remember they brought this one guy in, and he's on a gurney outside of him waiting. And nobody's really watching him. But I could see blood dripping on the floor, and this orderly kept coming by, and he'd mop up the blood, and he'd walk on down. And then we're watching, and the blood's pulling again, and he'd come walking back, and he'd mop up the blood.
What?
And he'd walk on down to do something else, and about a half hour later, he comes back. There's a big pool of blood, and he's mopping the blood up. And then finally, somebody checked him, and they're going, "He's dead. He had bled out right there."
Right there.
But nobody knew he was really bleeding because the guy kept mopping it.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. Stuff like that. I had Dan in here again, and Dan was talking about some stuff. Dan was an EMT when Stephen Blair was shot and killed. Dan talks about it in depth. I mean, it's coming out pretty soon. But Dan, same thing, they cracked Steve, and they did the whole bit. But Dan actually held his heart.
Oh, wow.
And tried to get him going again. But Dan tells the whole story, and it's sad as hell because it's one of our guys. It just, we knew, because I grew up in the area, we go to St. Francis, no matter what, because it's the closest to us. But it was better than Martin Luther. And Martin Luther was actually, you could pick. But nobody went to Martin Luther. no one. If you had a choice, no one went there.
If we rolled the deputy, we rolled him to St. Francis. If they were stable enough, they went to LCMC.
Okay, general. Yeah, but they used to do a lot of training there with the doctors that went there would train for the military.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to be a military doctor, you went to St. Francis and you did a residency to learn how to deal with gunshot wounds all day long.
Well, actually, they did the first part of the residency at Martin Luther King for the gunshot wounds because it was
so
many gunshot victims coming in.
I met a lot of them when I was a general, and they were talking about their military doctors.
When I was in the academy, I worked 2 funerals. The guy from SCB was at Lavieri.
Oh, yeah.
I worked that one, and then I worked the Carson deputy that crashed while driving. Mm-hmm. I worked that one, and then I think there was another one.
Yeah. I tried to ask you the other day, were you with me when, I think it's Lop went there, City Works picked up a body off the side of the road that was burned? They thought it was a burnt mannequin. They threw it in the back of a truck.
Now that you said it that way, I do remember that.
Okay.
I don't remember going out to it. I just remember hearing
No, you told me about it. The story I heard, maybe correct me, is that the city was told there's a burnt mannequin off the side of the road. So the city got it, put it in the back of a truck, and drove it to where they park the yard, where they park all the trucks.
Yeah, it was sitting at the yard.
Yeah, at the yard. And somebody said, hey, your mannequin's leaking.
Yes, I remember that.
and then he comes back and he says, shit, sir, I don't know if this is a mannequin after all. And they had to call everybody out, and it was actually a person. Mm-hmm. And I think you were the one telling me that you guys thought it was Bassett, because Bassett had a reputation for burning people, like wrapping them in carpets and burning them. How do you not different? It's the smell alone.
Right.
Come on. You're a homicide. I mean, how long were you in homicide? A burnt body doesn't smell like anything else. I've talked about it in here. You don't mistake that.
No, I had it was a walnut case. It was a house fire in Diamond Bar. And it's funny because the homeowner, his nickname was Sparky, and his license plate said Sparky on it. No. And what it was is the wife was overweight. We thought she had died from smoking, but it turned out that she had one of those medical beds.
Yeah.
That they had it plugged underneath, and the plug short-circuited, caught the carpet on fire, and burnt her.
Oh my God.
Now, the thing that people don't realize with burn victims, think about when you're cooking sausage.
It goes.
The skin peels open, and that's exactly what they do.
You know, amongst us, we'll say it. We used to say like it plumps when you cook them. Like that was one of those things. It's gross, but they do. People, because I can get this gas pop.
Well, and the funny part about it is the way they treat them. They actually slice their skin. Mm-hmm. The medical, when they're burn victims, they actually slice their skin to allow it to expand.
Yep.
And then they drill ports directly into the bone marrow, and hook IVs to it to hydrate them.
How do you know this? How do you know this part?
I've seen them. I've gone to the hospital, or when you go to the autopsies.
Okay. And
like we had one that was off the 605 freeway in Industries area, just north of the 60. You know where the wash is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right where the wash is, this guy comes running up onto the freeway, and he's got bandaged, what looked like straps around his wrist, and he's on fire. And Highway Patrol rolls up, and they call it in as the guy was kidnapping, and had been bound and freed his bounds and stuff. The investigation turned out he tried to commit suicide. That was the second time. He had just got released from Pomona Hospital. He got treated there for slicing his wrist. That's what's the bandage, and then he had poured it on himself and stuff. And the funny part was at the, because the body itself expands, but your limbs shrink.
Okay.
Fire victims, your fingers will shrink. They
really?
Melt and get really tiny.
I didn't know that.
So there's other, appendages. And I remember getting ready to do the post, and the medical examiner looks and he says, because his junk had shrunk from the heat, and he goes, no wonder he tried to kill himself. Do you think we have sick sense of humor? I'm telling you, the coroners have the worst.
worst, but I'm sorry, the funniest sometimes.
That is.
You remember, did you know Mundry?
Paul Mundry.
Yeah. Paul Mundry was my first dead body. Patrol deputy, just a freaking boot, green as it can go. And it was a body up by Pudding Stone Lake. And I rolled to it and knew I'm probably going to screw it all up. Paul Mundry is already there because I guess there was something going on with jurisdiction, but it ended up being mine. So I roll up. The body was laying up on a hill, like at an angle, and then the Pudding Stone was below it. So he's up on a little hill on the body. He had the tape up and everything, but when I walked up, you could see the body from afar, like it's up by a tree. And then Paul goes, "All right, let's go, youngster." And we walk up to the body for the first time, or the first time that I got there. And he starts doing this and doing that. And he looks at it and he goes, "It looks like money." And in his shirt pocket, he had a dollar bill. And he looks at it and he goes, "Ooh, blood money." And I'm trying to be like, you're taking little notes, whatever. And I'm trying not to say something. And next to the body was a fishing pole. Because it's a lake, the Pudding Stone Lake, the fishing pole. And the pole was laying next to the body, and the line was going like down the hill towards the water. And Paul goes, "Wouldn't it be a bitch if there was a fish on the end of that line?" And dude, there's a big crowd, and I'm trying not to laugh. And at that point, I said, "These people must think I'm laughing at this guy who's dead." It ended up being a suicide. And when they flipped him, there was actually a gun under his body. Some kids it's a funny thing because some kids were riding around those little carts you ride around by the lake, and they were exploring. They said, when I talked to him, I'm interviewing him, he says, "Everyone was talking about a body since Friday. This is like Monday morning."
Wow.
He says, "Yeah, everybody was talking. I heard people talking. I thought it was just nothing." So people at the lake saw the body and never called or anything. So it took from Friday to Monday for someone to say something. And this guy was already, we thought he was black. I did. But because his head was lower than his body, the blood goes to your head. So his skin was really, really dark. But he was actually Asian. And he had just got out of Charter Oak. And his family was trying to find him. And it ended up being, he shot himself. But that's the day I learned, I better loosen up, man, because Mundry was hilarious. That's not all. He said like 5 other things I'm not saying here. But he's an OG.
When I was in patrol, he was working homicide.
Already? Oh, Jesus.
Was it train versus pedestrian? Right there, right around Miramani and Gage. And they called for paramedics, and there's 2 perfectly half lobes of the brain on the track. And the paramedics come running, and they drive right across, and you hear this. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
No, they did. They drove
and
over.
And we never found the body.
They drove over the brain.
Over the brain. One half of it.
Drove over the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took pictures of it. I got them someplace.
Remember, I was trying to tell you about the East LA wall, and you don't remember it. East LA OSS had this wall. It was like just Polaroids of all this carnage. It was just... They took a picture every murder ever happened in East LA. And so everybody walked in that trailer with it's a whole wall. I mean, it's huge. Hundreds of pictures. Over, freaking 20, 30 years of gang stuff. And there was a picture, and I asked Burro. I asked him, I go, "Hey, what is that picture?" And it was a picture of a dashboard and in front of an Impala. It was back in the 60s or something, 70s or early 70s. And it was a brain sitting on top of the dashboard. Just a brain. It looked like the ones you would see in science class, dude. Perfect. Nothing mangled about it. Just a perfect brain sitting on the dashboard. And in the front seat was a body, had nothing from the jaw up, because it just, whatever. Somebody shotgunned it, shot him in the head, and his brain just flipped out and landed on the dashboard. But everything else was gone. Dude, as well as I do, weird shit happens. Like, you wouldn't believe it. It's like when people flip a cup and it lands perfectly. The stuff happens. It happens all the time where you can't make it up.
I had that suicide up in La Habra Heights where the girl killed herself with her ex-husband's Desert Eagle, 50 cal.
Oh, my God.
And Nothing, all that was the bottom of the jaw and nothing else. Everything else had peeled out.
Yeah.
But the entire inside of the car was a little two-seater Sentra.
It's everywhere.
It was just massive hair, skin, brain matter, teeth everywhere. And then there was a little hole in the driver's side window. And where she did it was near the hills. And about 50 feet down the cliff was about a big, like baseball-sized chunk of her brain.
Oh, my
sitting there.
God.
And while we're watching it, and the coroner investigator is getting ready to go down and retrieve it, a cat comes running up, picks it up, and is trying to run away with it.
Oh, my God. No.
Oh, yeah. And there was a certain industry deputy who was the responding deputy. When they pulled her out, he just
God, yes.
lost it.
God, yes. Oh, come on. No.
That stuff didn't gross me out. What grossed me out were
Smells got me.
decomp bodies.
Yeah, smells.
The decomp. You know, and every time we'd have a new lieutenant come in, we'd suck it up, not wear our mask in there on those decomps and make them come in and we're just going, oh, this is nothing. You get used to it. And we're like,
no, you don't. You don't. I had this conversation here. There's a smell. It doesn't go away. Another industry one. I think Rob told me this story where train tracks right by the station.
Yeah.
There's that set of train tracks
right behind the trailer.
Yeah. So somebody came in the station and said somebody got hit by a train. Some civilian. So everybody from the station ran to the tracks. They found out there's this couple walking on the tracks. Did you hear this one?
No.
Come on, you were in industry for freaking ever. But they're walking on the tracks, and the boyfriend is mad because the girlfriend wants to break up with him. So he keeps saying, if you don't stay with me, I'm going to kill myself. So he jumps on the tracks. The train come in. And then he jumps back off it. No, I'm going to kill myself. He does it like 4 times. And she's like, get off the tracks, get off the tracks. If you don't stay with me, I'm going to kill myself. And the fucking train hits him. Boom. Just launches him. So then that's when somebody runs in the station and says there's a body there. And homicide shows up. And of course, what do you have to do? Sal, I had this conversation with Sal. You have to find the parts, right? You have to find all the parts. You have to put him back together. You can't leave until you find everything. So what do? You spread out. You spread out as many guys as you can, because if a train hits somebody full blast, dude, you're looking everywhere. So homicide gets most of them back. And they think they have an idea because they had stopped the train, so there's going to be some on the train too. They're missing an arm. So they all spread out trying to find this arm. And homicide's over the body. Somebody goes behind homicide and hits him on the back of the head and said, hey, I found it. And he turns around and the deputy had his arm in his hand and was hitting the homicide guy on the back of the ear.
I never heard this before.
On the back of the ear. And he's like, oh, Jesus. This is a long time ago. But anyways, I'm telling the story. I go, that's a deputy. That's a deputy. And I know homicide probably grossed out, but they're probably all cracking up. I'm sorry. And the second I had to ask Ronnie, because I know you did 18 years OSS?
22.
22 years OSS. How many years at industry?
16.
Must have been before, because when did you get to industry?
December of 93.
93. Yeah, it would have been about 90.
But remember, I was off for 2 years. I had the knee infection.
Yeah. It must have been 1990. So you probably just missed it. Yeah, homicide, coroner, all day. All day. Funniest shit you ever heard. I'm sorry. It sounds, people are probably going, how do you laugh at that? Sorry.
That's how you deal with it.
It's how you deal with it every day. You've seen a lot more than me. You came on a lot earlier than me. When you can get away with more shit. It was, yeah.
Been a professional my whole career.
You remember, I grew up in the neighborhood you patrolled, so I knew your shit.
You turn around?
Yeah, they were.
I remember you.
You're running. How'd you like it over there in the gangster neighborhood? I know you liked OSS, but how'd you like the area? Was it
Firestone? It was a great area.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's really, really bad, but the majority of people were really good people who supported law enforcement. Mm-hmm. You know, I think we had talked about this before. Blacks and Hispanics love to party and barbecue in the front yard. You know, whites and Asians are in the backyard. And be driving down the street during the day and it'd be barbecuing in the front, and they would stop us and actually invite us to eat
all the time.
So we would eat, have whatever they were barbecuing. But when it got dark, they would board up their houses.
They would go in, and the freaks would come out at night.
Would come out.
Yep, it was a zombie apocalypse after dark. I remember driving through places like 4th of July because you work every shift, going through certain parks or whatever. Here's some food. Here's some drink. Cool. Not in Firestone, but where I worked.
But think about this: you grew up there. Have you been back there lately?
It's been a while.
Everything's changed. Everything's gone. Like the car wash is gone.
Oh, jeez.
You know, and now it's all apartments.
No way.
They're huge apartments with like stores underneath on the bottom.
Is it
right there at Florence?
It's clean.
And yes.
Oh, no way.
Florence and May and all those places.
They got rid of most of the factories then.
A lot of them are gone.
Those factories were
especially
lined
if
up.
you go to Alameda and Florence, just to the east side of Alameda. Remember, it was all vacant lot.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's all. It's all commercial now. There's Ross. There's Marshalls. PetSmart. Restaurants.
They modernized it.
Yeah.
There was nothing there but auto shops and factories, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They cleaned it up. Good. It's about time. It's about time. But it's a freaking packed area, though, dude. There's too many people in one spot. The traffic there, I mean, it's just...
Well, we covered 4.2 square miles, Firestone. And we put out 3 cars on days, 3 on PMs, on earlies, and 4 on PMs. 2-man cars. Mm-hmm. Now, it's Centuries area. They just send 1 car up there to patrol the whole area.
Really?
Yeah.
1?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gotten way
But
better.
we would average 40, 50 murders a year in that 4.2 square miles. It's the only place I remember being in the county where there'd be goats and chickens in the front yard and running across the street.
It's funny because I told a story here about how you know where Florence Elementary School is, right?
Yeah.
Did you know, remember it was at A&E or something, gas station across the street. Just directly across the street, it was a self-serve, or well, not even self-serve back then, you had to pay inside. I told the story of how I paid the cashier inside that liquor store and it was the robber.
No.
And Firestone Sheriff showed up in their freaking Nova Malibus and ran in and drug out the cashier I just paid. And I told the story here, but I'm pumping gas and you guys, probably one of your boys, ran in, grabbed the guy I just paid and drug him out in the street. I'm like, oh shit, I just paid, dude, get my money back.
You remember the Shell station at Compton and Firestone?
Yeah.
So when I was on training, actually I was on my last month evaluation. So I'm the car commander. I'm driving, and I was working with Jim Harrell, who went to SAB Hondo, rest in peace. And he was a funny guy because he'd say, all right, whatever you hook. So I'd go and I'd get somebody for this and that. And then he'd be booking them. And then he'd come in, he'd go, hey, how about we write it this way? Instead of it, 11,550, under the influence of heroin or whatever. He goes, why don't we just make him drunk in public? Because he could write that out really quick.
Easy. It's a one side.
But that's back when he smoked before he went to SAB and became a health nut. So he would go to, he tells me, hey, they give me free cigarettes. And he was a smoker. So he goes, if I have to pay, I'll reach, like I'm reaching for my wallet, honk the horn a couple times, hit the rotators and say, we got to go. So I did it. So I'm off training now. He just signed me off. And he goes and he's reaching for his wallet. And I'm just sitting there watching him. And he keeps reaching for it. And he looks back at me and I just wave at him.
Not on training anymore.
Nope.
That's awesome. He got you when he got back in the car, though. I mean,
He did.
Give me my $4. A lot of guys in here, I had Sal, like I said, bringing up guys that pass away. A lot of passed away guys. But great stories, man. There's a lot of OGs, and I wish I could talk to them because I know they had something to say, but it's gone.
Yeah, there's so many stories. When you're talking, I think of another one.
Exactly.
And I forget it because you talk about something else. I think about another one.
I got to remember that. I got to remember, okay, when he's done, I'm going to bring it up. I do it all the time. And then I don't remember when you're done.
There's so many stories.
All day. Dude, we sat in the car for years and we would go back and forth and sometimes we'd repeat. I just let you repeat. Sometimes you let me repeat because that's what we do. Passing time. But there's no way you can say you didn't come up with some crazy scenes, crazy homicides, crazy OSS scenes. There's all kinds of shit.
You know, the weirdest suicide I had was over up, I think it was like Tahunga Pass, going over the hill into Malibu. This guy was like 2.5 miles back in the hills, which it's I think they're oak trees, and they're all tagged because they track them all. And when you go hiking back through there, I mean, their trees are so dense that it's dark, and it's like you're underneath it and you don't get much sunlight.
Like a canopy.
So we go to this tree, it's huge, and there's this guy who had hung himself, and he's like 20 feet above the ground. And it was a hiker who just found him. But because the trees, the coverage from the trees didn't give him direct sunlight, he slowly decomposed. No. And you can see how, like, firemen, when they jump out of bed, they've got their turnout coats. Yeah. So they can just jump right into it.
Yeah.
So from his chest, like around nipple high, going down, all of his skin slid right off, including the pants, the shoes, the socks, and dropped directly below him, and it looked like a turnout setup. You know, the shoes were there, the socks were there, the skin's still in it.
Like degloving a body?
Right.
Oh, my God.
And it's all exposed. It's from, like I said, the chest down was exposed. Like, did you ever see Bodies in Motion, where all those Chinese people, the doctors, they would carve these people up? And
no, I don't think so.
it's a pretty amazing.
I'm thinking of Men in Black, when that guy was a bug, like in a bug costume, and his skin like falling off of him.
Pretty much.
That's what I'm thinking.
Exactly how it was.
Yeah.
But all of his muscle tissue was like beef jerky now, because it just had looked like that.
It dries out.
But the bad part about it was we had to call ESD to get him.
Oh.
And because they had...
where he was.
Where he was hanging up. But at the tree, there was a huge beehive. So we actually had to wait the next day. We had to leave a deputy there overnight to sit on the body
himself.
By himself.
Trainee.
Yeah.
Trainee, come here.
And so the next day, we actually had to have a bee guy come out to collect the bees so they could go up on the thing and retrieve the body. And then SEB had just come up with, they were testing this new dolly, a gurney, a new gurney. That was one of those big giant wheels.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to walk this guy in, but...
No, it didn't fall off.
Oh, it did.
It didn't fall off.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. It makes it worse.
It was so bad.
It just makes it worse.
Well, I remember being in patrol, and LAPD had a murder in the Jordan Downs, and we were out there backing them up. And the coroner's office comes out of this apartment, and they start to walk down, and the body goes sliding from underneath the thing and falls all the way down the stairs.
No, it does not.
Yeah, and they're like, look at each other. Didn't you strap him in? I thought you strapped him in.
Oh, my God. That comes up in those bloopers. If there was video cameras, everybody be watching that shit. I had one where I was a patrol deputy, and you know how you just said the guy who has to watch. So I'm watching a room, and then homicide shows up 12 hours later, like they always do. Body gun. So the body's in the middle of the bedroom. Gun's is sitting up on top of a dresser, and like maybe 6 feet away. So body's here, gun's over there on top of the dresser. That I don't know if that gun did that, but that's what's going on. We were there for freaking 20 damn hours, man, trying to figure out how someone killed him, put the gun down, and left. And then somebody came in, was there earlier, so he had to go somewhere and comes back, the trainee. And his TO's like, yeah. And he tells him, you know, like, I think he was going to relieve me. Turns out, when the trainee first got there before I relieved him, he saw the gun next to the body, picked it up and put it over on the dresser. So all this time they're thinking it's a murder, but it's a suicide. He killed himself. But you should have seen Homicide. Oh my God, dude! I thought they were gonna kill him. They're trying to figure out. They have the wife. They're doing all this shit to try to figure out. He just said, I just secured the gun, sir. He's freaking got no head left, and he's gonna move the gun and put it up there and not tell anybody.
Back in the day, before the computers, you had to call in, to get your file number and give all the information.
Yeah.
So we were the assisting unit. No, we were just coming on PMs. And day shift had the murder right at shift change. There's like 50 casings, in the floor. This guy is full of bullet holes. And I'm looking, we're staying at the door. We're just looking in, and I look in. One of the guys that's on training with me, who was a lateral, he's on the phone right by the body, talking to the desk and stuff. And I go to my TO, I go, should he be doing that? And he goes, no, he shouldn't be doing that. Just sure enough, they chewed him out. He goes, how do we know the suspects ever used that phone? We're going to print that phone. Now we're going to get your prints, and you're going to be caught as a suspect in the investigation. You're going to have to go in front of a judge and explain why you did this.
Well, my job, and biting bugs, trackers, all that shit. Tech ops put all that system in that caught the idiots who killed Maria Rosas. When they were in the cell and they started bragging about killing Deputy Rosas.
I never knew her murder was solved.
Oh, yeah, solved. She got killed off duty loading her car. She got killed in the trunk of a car, but she tried to fight back, so they shot her. So it's on duty. We put the tech ops put a bunch of like cameras and bugs and dude, Perkins. As soon as the stuff was set up, they put the inmates back into the cell. So they leave, we set up, put them back in the cell. They stimulated them. You explained what stimulating was last time we were on this thing. It's nothing like that. But when they put them back in the cell, 2 deputies, boots. If you're in the jail, you're fucking boot. Walk in. One walks in the cell, one stays out the cell. Inmates who killed a deputy are in the cell. The one walks in and starts looking around to see where our stuff is. He's looking up at, where's the camera?
And you see him on the camera looking at the camera.
He's up there. And now all the 2 inmates are looking with him. So you got the inmates and the deputies looking for our stuff. Did
they find him?
They're burning it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the burn, right? They're telling them there's something in here. They're never finding our shit. They actually walked up and looked at it and still confessed and talked the whole shit. They even reenacted it. So they never found it. But I'm pretty sure it was Mark's because it's Maria. Oh my God. You talked about that's a homicide of a deputy, and you guys are out there burning shit because you want to go see what we put in. It's the same shit everybody thinks we're there for them. But that was specifically for Maria Rosas deputy and these idiots walking around and looking at cameras and shit. So we used to use that video in our training. This is what you don't do. Don't be the idiot who goes looks for stuff when we do stuff. Somebody walked up to me after training and goes, I work with those guys. He goes, those guys are fucking morons. I tell the story about Dan Beers because Dan, he's one of your guys, Firestone OG. Dan Beers is the quietest guy you ever met. Straight. He's a very serious man. He's not a jokester. But he's freaking awesome. Very intelligent guy. He and I did a job at Twin Towers, and we're walking out, and where the it's like the hospital where all the nurses it's higher than the floor. I don't know. It's a little area, anyways. No, sorry, IRC. So they have this little landing, and all the deputies hang out there. It's 20 deputies, and the nurses. I guess because the nurses probably that's why the deputies are. We walk out, and we were done. And one of these morons screams out, did you guys put a bug in the toilet? And there's 60 inmates standing right there. The trustees, it's the IRC. Mm-hmm. He goes, did you guys put a bug in the toilet? And he starts laughing, and all the deputies start laughing. Dan Beers stops, dude. I'm like, oh, shit. Because I was ready. Me, that's my job. I lose my temper. Not Dan, but Dan turned around and walked up. Oh, my God. Coolest shit I've ever seen. Because Dan, he said, if you see us, we're not fucking here for you. Now you just burned a homicide. Wait till I tell homicide, you guys are a bunch of fucking morons. Oh, my God. Dan Beers, he doesn't do that. I know you know him, but he let him have it. Stupid ass deputies.
Out of him, I'm thinking of Rich Lopez.
That was Rich.
Rich is one that when there was a homicide and they saw him, patrol deputies would scare to death of Rich.
Yeah. He has that.
He let him have it.
He has that look.
Well, he let him have it.
Yeah.
You know his house burnt down in the Altadena fires.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And he was a captain in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Oh my God. He's got to start all over.
Yeah. So, and then
how's he doing?
I haven't talked to him lately, but he knew me when I was like EA big. His sister and his brother-in-law were my football and baseball coaches.
Really?
And team moms. And I grew up with his niece and his two nieces and his nephew. You know, so my first day at Firestone, I remember we used to do these swim parties when we'd win. And we'd go to Tony Marquez, Big Tony, and his son was Little Tony. Little Tony was bigger than Big Tony. So we'd go there and we're all in the pool and stuff, and this guy would come out and he'd yell, "Stop splashing, I don't want to hear no noise." And
it was him.
And it was him. And we would like, oh my God, that guy's so mean and stuff. And I never, really looked at him because we're scared to death of him. He's a Marine, he was a captain, So my first day at Firestone, I'm walking in the locker room to my locker, and I go past this one row, and I hear this, "Hey, are you little Ronnie Duval?" And I stop and I go, "Nobody calls me that."
Yeah.
I look back and I go, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I go, "No, sir." And he goes, "Good." That was it. I'm like, who the heck is this guy? So I get dressed and I'm walking by and he goes, "You still don't know who I am, do you?" And I'm like, "No." He goes, "You know Tony and Laura Marquez?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Laura's my sister." I go, "Are you the guy in the pool?" He goes, "That was me."
I have nightmares from that day. I don't get in the pool anymore.
Yeah, he remembered me and stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And we worked patrol together.
Everybody though.
We worked patrol in a radio car together, and we had a couple pursuits where we had two pursuits, foot pursuits. Or it's tag team. The guy take off running, and one of us would take off running at him. The other get the car and go, and like we had this one kid. He ran from us twice. We caught him both times. Mm-hmm. So he's over at 7-6 and Central, the All-American Market.
Yeah,
and we see him go in because we knew him, and we're always trying to catch him because he's always got dope on him. So we go walking in, and he runs around, and he's hiding around, and he slips past us, and gets out, and he's running down the street. So I'm in foot pursuit of him, and I'm young then, so I'm in good shape, and I'm running, and he's just hopping fences. And Rich goes up around the other street, and he's up ahead of me. He's probably like 4 houses ahead of me, 5 houses ahead of me, and he's still running and looking back, and all of a sudden I see his eyes get big, and I hear, and Rich comes sliding over, and he goes running. Now and Rich catches him, and he goes, "That ain't fair." He goes, "You can't do that. You both have to run."
You just remind me when I work with Dan, and I'm not say it. Ken Perry asked me to work with his guys. Yeah, you guys, I got some OT. You can go out with my guys. He wants to not square away, but he wants to give some experience to the guys who are trying to get to the better units. I'm not saying I knew him better, but he asked me to do it. So I worked Norwalk area. We're in the one ways. And Dan Light got in the car with me. So that's the first time I worked with Dan. I talked about it here, but I didn't tell this story. We were driving down the street in one ways. You've been to the one ways, right?
Yeah. That's where we did all those warrants, and we had 3 shootings.
Yep.
And that's when I dove off the porch and did my knee the first time.
And that's where it was a war zone back then. I mean, those guys were out of control. Barrio. Pull around the corner, the bike comes around the corner. And I know who it is. I don't do monikers, but he comes by. And he's tipped up. I mean, he's nephew to the man. No, cousin of the man. Comes around the corner. And I go, "Shit, let's get him." He turns into a random driveway and then goes to the back. And we jump out and we run. All that's left is the bike. And this lady standing on the back porch, like, "What the hell, you guys? What the hell is that?" Because she must have saw him go to her backyard. So she's standing on the back porch and go, "Ma'am, go inside." So she goes inside. He jumped the fence and he's going eastbound. So all I got is a bike. I go, "Dan, go ahead and tell the guys we're doing this." So Dan goes out to the front of the car. He gets back in the car. Then I come out like 10 seconds later. And he goes, was that a tire I heard exploding? I go, I don't know what you're talking about. We get back in the car and we're driving around. I go, he'll be coming out in a little while. So we stay in the air. Dude, we're just doing circles. We're doing circles because that bike ain't working no more.
Right.
So going around the corner. And he never shows up. I'm like, fuck. He's going to have to come back and get his bike sooner or later, and it's going to have to push it or carry it. That's the game, right? So we see this black Cherokee coming, and it's another one of the top dogs in Barrio. But that's his car, but there's 2 girls driving. So we pull it over, jam it, and when we get up on it, he's laying in the back seat. Right? He's in the back seat, doesn't have his bike. So he must have got the bike out. I think he threw it over the fence, if I remember right. Get him out of the car, and dude, he's just beat to shit. I mean, his eye is swollen. He's still bleeding. Someone just beat the shit out of him within a matter of minutes. So we're thinking, I didn't touch him. What the hell happened to you? Did he crash the bike? Whatever. He goes, I said, what the fuck? What happened to you? We just saw you. He goes, you guys fucked up my bike, and it was a big homie's bike, and he kicked my ass when I brought it back to him. He goes, he kicked my ass. He goes, I was supposed to bring it back, and you guys fucked my... I don't know what you're talking about, brother. And he's like, man, dude, he beat the shit out of him. We had to get him an okay. Like, we didn't touch him. He was cool about it. He said, this wasn't the deputies. It was something else. That's street justice, though. Yeah.
So when you talk about Norwalk, I remember a story you told me about Norwalk.
Uh-oh.
Well, your whole family's in the movie industry for the most part.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about this.
Your one uncle who's the captain, he's a transportation captain.
Yeah, he drives a truck.
And he has a nice house with boats and all that stuff. And when you first got there, you were telling me how all these guys were watching this house thinking he was a drug dealer. And you go, let's just go up and ask him.
That's Ponte Leon. When I first got to the industry, he was going to show me on the industry, Norwalk OSS. He's going, I'm going to show you around the neighborhood. Dude, I freaking know this area. But anyways, it's Ponce. He's cool. So we drive around the neighborhood doing our circles, and this house does that gangster's there, and he's pointing all the shit. And we go by this house in Whittier County, and there's a big-ass cigar boat. There's an RV that matches the boat, right. And the RV is the biggest RV you can get. I mean, it's like a house. And he has like 5 Harleys, and they're all prize Harleys, like you'd see in magazines. And he goes, that's the biggest dope dealer in Whittier. And I look over, and he says, yeah, we've been trying to catch that guy. He's a big-ass dope dealer. Look at his boat. Look at his Harleys. And there's an older man standing next to the boat, and there's 2 younger guys on the boat cleaning. He's got his boys cleaning the boat. And we pull up like slow, and I go, stop. He stops. I go, hey, motherfucker, you a dope dealer? And he looks at me and goes, hey. And he goes, yeah. I go, dumbass, these are my cousins. Ponce is like, what? I go, these are my cousins. They work in the movie industry. They're very well off because they drive the big rigs for the movie industry. These guys get paid bank. And all his boys are in the movie industry doing prop making and stuff like that.
And didn't he become a captain? Like have his own fleet? Yeah,
he started buying his own trucks. Yeah. And then his wife was driving with them. They just recently retired. Great career, dude. I mean, these guys, he started it.
You guys had one of your cousins or uncles had the motorcycle shop.
Yeah, and that's him. He owned Road Dogs in Whittier.
Road Dogs, yeah.
And it's famous. I mean, all kinds of people would bring their bikes to him. But Ponce thought he was a dope dealer. It was the funniest thing because when I said, hey, are you a dope dealer? He goes like, what the hell are you saying, dude? And I go, Ponce, these are my cousins. Come on out. And that's my cousin. Come on. So I introduced him. And I said, this guy thought you were a dope dealer. I fronted up Ponce. He goes, well, we didn't know. And he goes, that's a compliment. Yeah. I go, look at all your shit you have. That's the nicest stuff. And I said, I should have told me you were.
Right.
Well, he's a great guy. His name is Leo. Good dude. His whole family, outstanding. They started in the industry, got my son in the industry. They all work for the back lot.
We remember they used to do that barbecue once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there for that one. And that's when you showed me your frame of your bike. And you said, I'll get this fixed one day. Did you ever get it fixed?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's at home. It's at home and it runs. I got my shovel head at home. Yeah, he rebuilt it and built it all up for me. And badass bike. But he had Road Dogs, but he has like the 100th anniversary. He has all the greatest bikes. He has beautiful motorcycles and then trucks, cars, They're all pristine. Like they could all be in books. They have been. But we went to the barbecue and he was talking about his Harleys and stuff. But he was just talking about retiring. He just retired. They stay forever. There's no reason to retire. He would drive the truck. They would unload the pack for him, and he'd wait for them to finish. And then he said, "Well, he's the smartest guy because he would go and well, there's a need here," and he bought the RV. I mean, not the RV, the semi truck, and now he's leasing and renting the truck to the movie studio and carrying their loads. Smart. He always did that. Every time he saw a need, he goes, "I'm going to start that," because the movie industry will hire out anyone. I mean, he was driving a gas truck around. You know that in the movie industry, if you're on the lot, it used to be, you get free gas. His job was to drive around this dually and put gas in everyone's car, fill it up. That's, dude, my son's there. Like I said, my son's there now. And he just talks about, Dad, they just tear it and throw it in the trash. Tear it out and throw it in the trash.
I just remember the food, the craft.
Oh, God, yes. He says you get lobster, steak, whatever you want, as much as you want.
And I told you when I was with the Puerto Rican, her daughter was doing extra work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember because our flexible schedule was OSS.
So you would go?
I would take her.
Oh, no way.
Because she had to go to school. Because they do school. When you're minors, they have to go to school. Mm-hmm. So they have a tutor on set. So I remember the first time I ever heard of the movie, the TV show, Everybody Loves Raymond. Mm-hmm. I had no idea who Ray Romano was. Mm-hmm. And I took her, because she ended up doing 3 different episodes for that one. And I remember I'm there, and I'm waiting. You mentioned it, I'm having a lobster breakfast burrito made from craft services.
With extra lobster.
And there's this guy, he's sitting there swinging a golf club, and he goes, "You play much?" I go, "I used to." He goes, "You don't play anymore?" I go, "No." I go, "My ex-wife sold my clubs." And he just looks at me and goes, "Fucking bitches." And I go, yeah.
Ray Romano?
And I had no idea who he was. He goes, "Yeah, I try to get out as much as I can." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, good for you." I go, "No, I don't do it anymore because I don't have any clubs and stuff." And so that was it. So we didn't get to see the live taping, but rehearsals, they bring us into the set. So we're up on the stage, and I'm sitting next to this one lady, and there's a guy sitting next to me, and the kids, they're the parents of the kids, and the kids are on this one scene. But the scene before they come on, there's remember the tall older guy and the mom were on set, and then he comes walking in, and of course, they have that one producer who's the laugh guy, with the laugh, so they start laughing and stuff like that. And I go, "Hey, I was just talking to the guy. Who is that guy?" And she goes, "You don't know who he is?" I go, "No." She goes, "He's the star of the show." "Oh, he's Raymond?" She goes, "Yeah, that's Ray Romano." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And after that is when I get to learn all about him, but I had no idea who he was.
You didn't know you were talking to Ray Romano.
I had no idea.
That's hilarious. That's why you had the conversation with him.
And that's why it was funny, because he just says, "Yeah, fucking bitch." Just like that.
I was surprised he didn't use it as a skit. Someone stole my clubs. But you know who's working extra work right now is Joe Eaton.
Really?
Joe works extra work at the studios. He retired from my team. And Joe's a writer too. He writes science fiction. But Joe, a great guy. Well, he tells me that he's got speaking parts, little speaking parts now.
Well, she did. She actually did it on that Vampire Slayer. What was her name? Buffy or something like that?
Buffy, yeah.
She had a couple speaking ones on that. And then she did this other one, a Disney movie. I can't remember what it was. Max's Revenge or something like that, where they actually used us for 2 different scenes.
No way.
Yeah. They used all the parents for 2 different scenes and stuff. But the best one was when they did the live shooting of one of the second or third ones that she was there. So when I first got to Firestone, there was a guy who just got hired as a reserve. And he was a lighting guy, like what they call him, a gaffer or something like that. And he was just new, it was Jeff Zaka. So by the time she's filming this, he's still a reserve and stuff. And I still keep in touch with him because he actually was Jerry Plint, Jerry Plint, his brother-in-law. Well, that time when we went to the studio, the Burbank studio, he was the executive vice president of post-production for Disney Studios.
No way.
So on this time that we're there, and I forgot what episode she was doing with them. And it was like her third time with Everybody Loves Raymond. So I told him, I go, hey, I'm over here in the studio today. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, all of a sudden, he comes up with this fancy cart. And he's not even driving. There's somebody else driving.
Yeah.
And he comes driving up. He talks to where they're doing the movie, because we're not in that studio. We're way on a back, in the, like 2 sets over.
Yeah.
And they talk, and he comes pulling this way. And right away, all these producers and executives are coming out trying to find out what he's doing here. And then he gets me and the Puerto Rican's daughter, takes us to their executive cafeteria.
No shit.
And he just took us with that. And afterwards, they go, and who are you? And I just go, I'm his probation officer. Because his secretary used to get mad because I'd call, and she'd say, Mr. Zaka's office. I go, you tell that bitch to get on the phone. And she goes, excuse me, sir? Or I'd say, hey, this is Detective Duval from Sheriff's Child Abuse. I have a warrant for Mr. Zaka. Can you tell me if he's in today? And he'd just say, when I finally met her, she goes, I hate you.
I work security at it was the ESPN Awards, and they put me on the red carpet. And my job was to make sure nobody from the stands went out on the red carpet. So they have that long strip of stands, and they're all paid audience.
Yeah.
And I was standing by this. My post was right at the edge before they walk the red carpet, and then they go in. They walked it was a Gromans, I believe it was. And they're walking down. So I just stood there, and you're in a suit, but it's extra money. It's some other gig. And then I'm watching the carpet, and I don't give a shit about these people. Movie stars, who cares? See them all the time. I got a million stories about movie stars. But this man starts walking, I look at him and go, oh, that's freaking Eric Dickerson from the Rams. I'm like, hell yeah, ESPN, right? So he's walking down. That's my boy. I love Eric Dickerson. I love the Rams. He stands and he starts to interview. So he's facing away. And I look over, and there's this, and in the paid audience is this like 8-year-old little girl. She's all, yay. They pay him to scream. Mm-hmm. And I go, shit, what the hell? I'm only getting paid how much? So I look at the lady who's in charge of them. She's got a little clipboard. Can I borrow a piece of paper? And she gives me a piece of paper. Yes, sir. Can I borrow your pen? Yeah, and I have the paper and pen in my hand. I look at the little girl and go, you see that guy right there? And she looks over to him, and I go, take this piece of paper and that pen and go get his autograph. Dude, I opened the big-ass gate, opened the gate, and she, runs on the red carpet, dude. Cameras everywhere, dude. Runs on the red carpet. Eric Dixon's looking this way. She starts pulling on his shirt or his suit or whatever, and he looks down there like, what the hell is this little kid? And she hands him the paper a bit. He signs it, dude, like reluctantly, because he doesn't sign. That's why I really want his autograph. He signs it, and she grabs it, and she runs back. I open the gate, and she sits back in the stands. I go, well, they can fire me. What the hell do I care? It's a side gig, No one said a damn thing, dude. The perks of the trade. I forgot his name. I worked the what do you call it? The NBA finals. They had a big party. Same thing. We were working in the Sony after party, and the back lot. They opened those big, huge gates. Well, it's the fire inspector says, close it down. There's too many people in there. So I'm standing at the back gate. Nobody's allowed to get in, right? I'm in full kit. It's a OSS overtime, but we're in our shit because that street got crazy. And I'm working with a guy. I'm not going to mention him. And you know who John Sally is? He's the basketball player that comes out on ESPN. He's huge. He played for the Lakers. John Sally is a legend in basketball. He walks up to the gate from the inside, and all these limos are pulling up at the gate because they still want to get in. It's everybody. Limo pulls up, and John Sally comes to the inside of the gate and goes, hey, can you let her in? And there's a girl sitting in a limo. And I said, no, sir, you can't do it. Fire marshal shut it down when no one else comes in. He goes, come on, guys. And she gets out of the limo. I'm like, oh, yeah, now I know why you wanted her to come in. She's beautiful, right? He's standing inside. He's like, come on, let her in. It's like, we just told Paris Hilton, we just told all these big movie stars, they can't come in. And John Sally wants this girl to come in. He wants us to hook him up. And the deputy looks at me. The deputy next to me looks at me and looks at John Sally. And he goes, "That's a nice hat." And John Sally had on, he's going to remember this. He's never going to hear it, but he had a official Negro Baseball League hat on. It had it's badass. And John Sally just looks at him and goes, "Fuck." Takes off the hat and hands it to the deputy.
He let him in.
And I open the gate, and the girl comes running in, and he looks at us like, sneers at us, dude, and goes in. And then I get in the car with him. I'm like, "Dude, that's John Sally." He goes, "I can get another hat."
Yeah.
You know the Standard Hotel? It's very famous for a lot of stupid shit, but they're having a party there. And you know the bags, the big bags they gave everybody with the swag bags?
Yeah.
Well, fire marshal shut them down. She said, "No more people." So everybody out. We kicked out John Madden. We kicked out.
And how many bags did you get?
That's the story. So we're kicking out all these freaking pro football players, basketball players, everybody get out. And then the lady, they were trying to get the bags. Like, "I'm gonna grab the bag and leave out." And I said, "Shut the gate," because they were clogging the line out. So they shut this like accordion gate. And after everybody was out, they opened it back up. Said, "Hey, what are you gonna do with those bags?" And she looks at it, she goes, "Meet me around back." So we pull the car around the back, open up the trunk. She throws like 4 of those bags in the trunk of the car. Those
are hundreds of dollars
dude,
worth of stuff.
It's like Laker jerseys, like the old retro Laker when they were still in, I think they were in Michigan or somewhere. All kinds of stuff. I gave it all away, man. So I don't need it. But what's his name that was with me? Same guy with the hat. Took like 4 of them, man. I'm out of here.
You know, my academy class was infamous for, we worked the 1983 Academy Awards.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's a good gig.
We were supposed to be in this one area as a response team. Mm-hmm. You can't keep us there. We're curious. Next thing you know, there's like 10 of us. Mm-hmm. And somehow we found where all the dancers and all the people that are the support for the show. Mm-hmm. It's like a giant room with like back-to-back wall of makeup desk with mirrors and these huge lights. And then they have these racks of clothes for their costumes that they wear. Yeah. But they're walking around there in just thongs.
Yeah.
Naked, just thongs, all they got. And then they come in and they're like, "Oh, you young guys, Debbie." And we're taking photos with all these girls that are topless. You know, there's like 10 of us. And then next thing you know, one of our DIs, he sees me.
Oh, no.
No, he didn't get mad. He came over. He was with us. He was taking photos with us until Mahone came along.
Oh, no.
And then he yelled at us. And then we had to run extra laps. And we had to write reports.
He kicked you out, and then he stayed in there.
Probably.
There's I call them perks. There's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on. I know we've talked about it before, but the backstage stuff. Oh, I can't talk about it too much. There was a lot of crazy things we threw out. You ever see Superman? The old Superman. It's called Smallville.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The main. There's a couple. I think he played Lex Luthor. We tossed his ass out in the middle of the street like head first. Dude, if he remembers, it was funny. He was so drunk he couldn't even walk. And his buddy's walking with him. And he's famous too. His name is Dax, I believe. Dude, they don't know how to they don't know how to just act right. And just launched him.
Did I talk last time about the Magic Mountain gig that OSS had?
Yeah, I worked there every weekend. It's good.
It was great overtime.
Yeah, it was great overtime.
And just all the back ways and all the food and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's a great gig. That's where my son became the most famous person in high school because I would work it and I would take him with me and just open the gate and every week I worked there every weekend. So every weekend he'd bring a new person.
Drive in the back and then they just walk through and stuff.
Yeah. But even the water park, he was like the most famous. I said, just pick your friends.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That was a good gig. It also got crazy. Fights, a lot of fights. They would act stupid. I remember we got called because they stopped doing where you can't. Magic Mountain used to stop them from wearing
The gang
colors.
right?
And then all of a sudden they got sued. And then now they're letting every gangster and every idiot walk in the park. So the park just got stupid. I haven't been back there since, but we got a call that somebody was jumping line, like up by Goliath.
Yeah.
So I thought I was just going to walk through the park, and this little kid, security guard, like 12 years old, because they got rid of their security, used to be security. Then they started hiring these little kids. They can't control anything. And he's, I'll walk you here. And we ended up walking around the back. There's like, the walkways through the back.
All the secret ways.
There's secret ways all through Magic Mountain. But he did it so perfectly because we could see from afar that typical group was cutting the line, just cutting the line. And everybody's like, what are you doing? And now they're cussing them out, hey, what do you care? Stay in line, and just being assholes. And they kept cutting line. And then they finally stopped. And the kid goes, okay, now. And we went around the back, and this gate, I swear it was bamboo. Mm-hmm. But when you opened it, we're like standing right behind. We were standing right behind the idiots. But they're all facing the people that they're cussing out. And all the people that saw, because we're in OSS gear, right, with our gear. Open the gate, and all the people in the back just look like, here it comes. And they're still chipping, and they realize they're looking behind them. So they turn around, and they go, oh, shit. And I just go like this. They climb over the turnstile and all that shit, and they get over, and it's guys and girls. And they think they're just getting kicked out of line. Like, nope. And that kid walked us to another door, and now we're in the parking lot.
Right.
And I paid it. Let's go. Walked them all the way to their car. Like, well, I'm going to go. No, you're not. Followed them in another car. Drove them all the way to the front gate and get out. That was the coolest shit ever, man.
Because I remember we had two teams. You had the ones that jammed cars when they came in. Mm-hmm. And then you had the guys that jammed on the way in.
Yeah.
But remember they used to do concerts. I told you about Marky Mark, right?
Oh, yeah.
How we worked his concert, and we're in the pit, and these young 13 and 14-year-old girls taking their bras off, taking their panties off, throwing them at him. And his mom...
Marky Mark.
Yeah. And his mom would collect them, put them in a suitcase.
No
She said she would donate them to
the one that's on the TV show? That mom? Oh, my God.
I don't know if it's that mom. I haven't seen the show.
The show's great. Watch the show. It's fun. So. You worked Marky Mark.
Yeah, he was like 16 or 17.
Overtime gigs was fun, but I broke my hand at Magic Mountain fighting that gangster at the front gate. So it's not always easy. And people would be fighting all the time. I remember being in the park and just breaking out because they stopped regulating what they wore. Yeah. And you couldn't show tattoos. You couldn't wear Raiders. You couldn't wear any team stuff. And there was nothing going on. It was calm and it was safe. But once they took that away, these guys are flashing all their shit. And they started beating the hell out of each other, stabbing each other.
Back then they would take and they'd have the girls walk in separately, not with any colors, but with their bags. Mm-hmm. And then they'd go to the locker, and then when the guys would come in,
and they'd
break out all the colors and start walking around.
Yep, but they would walk in with something, they'd flip it over, and then they would tell them, you have to turn your jersey inside out, you have to turn it. They took it all away, and now you can't go there. You can't take your family there. Yeah. And it's terrible. It's got a reputation for don't take kids there, don't go on the weekends.
The group guys that would jam the cars were getting 3 to 4 guns a day.
Yep.
In the cars.
Every day. But they stop being proactive, and it goes to shit, and all the good people can't go. That's why I still love working OSS, because on the weekend, we would drive through the park, and all the gangsters would leave. Now all the good people are having a good time. And we'd sit there for a while. I would love to chase them, like move them on. Move on. And that's why I tell people, if I could survive, I probably would have worked OSS for free. Because I remember being that kid that would be somewhere and they would just ruin it. And I always tell the stories like, people would go, why are you guys so heavy-handed? Why are you so mean? Why are you so whatever? I said, there is no way you don't see the difference from the time they're there and when they're not. Take your kid to the park and put them on the swings and then have a good time, have your little picnic. You get some knuckleheads that roll up there and start blasting their music, smoking their dope. If you tell me you're going to leave your kids there and still play on the swings and not get in your car and leave, you're a liar. I said, they don't know how to just let people be. They got to take over. Not all of them, but There are a lot, and we know who they are. They know who they are.
When we had the Puente Hills Mall overtime, we used to send everybody up to West Covina Fashion Plaza. Say, you can't come here anymore. You have to go to West Covina.
Yep. There was a time when
and then Dan Nalen worked for West Covina as their gang guy. And he'd say, well, you guys sending them up there? Well, what are you talking about?
There was a time when you could give them a ride. Something you didn't want, something, this isn't going to work. Yeah, I'll give you a ride to that side. And that's called LAPD over there.
You know,
they did it to us too.
Working Magic Mountain on overtime, this guy comes up to me and he says, they never said Duval. They said, Debbie Devil.
Devil.
And I look at him. I'm like, hey, how are you? And he's like, okay, you don't remember me, do you? And I go, no. And he goes, man, you divorced me and my wife. He goes, this is my new wife. These are my 2 kids. We're up here. It's so much nicer now. And I go, I divorced you? And then I remembered. We had this call. We kept making him leave. And he kept coming back.
Yeah.
Making him leave. And finally we get the one call. Mm-hmm. Handle to conclusion.
Oh, yeah. Someone's going to jail.
So I go, we're like, I don't want to take this guy to jail. Mm-hmm. For what am I going to humbug him for? Drunk? So I said, put your right hand on my badge and raise your left hand. And he says, I go, now with the power vested in me by Governor Brown and
state of California.
No, I said Sheriff Sherman Block and the state of California, I hereby divorce you too. Oh, man, they were so happy. And I'm thinking, oh, my God.
They believe it.
He's
not.
Married. He's got another wife.
You said you divorced me. Oh, my God. I would never believe that unless if I didn't know you. I talked about you being an expert on the stand. That shit, you could figure it out, man. You got stuff done that no one could do in a different way that no one could figure out. But I know the people in the streets.
When you talk about an expert testimony, I used to get mad I'd see these guys that have been an OSS investigator for a long time, and they'd say, how many times have you testified as an expert? I don't know, 40, 50 times. And I'm like, you have to know.
Yeah.
They want to know which is it? 40 is it 50 times? It makes a difference.
Yes.
That's why when I would teach on gang expert, I always told them, keep a book, take all your subpoenas, you put it in there, you put what the suspect's moniker is, but at the time, how many members were in the gang, what they called him, what their turf was. And then at the back, you would track, whether it was held to answer, then it went to trial, and what the conviction was. And I kept all that stuff on it. And so it's in storage someplace. I have a book. That's how I know I testified 148 times. I wanted 2 more to be 150. Because I could actually say, well, how many times did you testify against Puente? And I said 86 times. And what was that judge at El Monte Court that was the jerk? One day he says, and this was on one of the stuff when we ripped off one of the guys from, was it Ballista?
Were we still the Uzi?
No, one of the guys we ripped off because we took him to jail because we were up on the wire and we were just doing wall stops.
Yeah.
And we got somebody, and he's like, well, how many, he goes, and he stands up, and he goes on, and he gets behind his chair, and he goes, another one of these gang allegations. He says, let me ask you, deputy. He goes, how many people from Ballista do you know? And I go, I probably know 30 of them. He says, really? Name them. So I started. I go, this is so-and-so, this is his real name. This is so-and-so, this is his real name. These 2 are sisters. This is so-and-so, this is their cousin. And I got to like 15. He says, okay, I've heard enough.
In the car, I was like, Ronnie, what's his name? Ronnie, who's that guy? Hey, last week, who was that guy? And you would just throw his name out.
Well,
I forgot his name as soon as we drove away, dude.
When I left Firestone and I knew I was going to industry, back then it was the GREAT system, gang reporting and evaluation and tracking system, before it went to Cal Gangs. So I printed out all the monikers of everybody in the Puente area. I did Bassett, all the Puente gangs, Little Hill, Townsend. I put all the monikers, and then I did because to do one big giant printout for all gangs was crazy. So then I did all of the gangs with everybody's name, not by moniker, but I did. So I had those 2 lists, and then I remember I was doing. I was teaching at the gang school. And Steve was ahead of me. Steve Mills was ahead of me. And he's telling me, he goes, yeah, and I have this thing that I printed out. And I go, and we get done. I go, dude, that's mine. He goes, I know. They don't know that, though. He goes, I told them that when I printed this out when they were switching from Great to Cal Gangs. And I go, that's mine. I made you a copy of that. He goes, I know, but they don't know that.
I think that's funny. I think it's awesome.
You know,
I was there for some of that shit.
I think what I had was case file management. And it was right after lunch. It was like the boringest subject. So I threw in photos of all kinds of blood and guts. You know, and some of them I made stories up on that sounded better, but I had some really good ones. I had the guy that was ran over by a truck right there at Florence and Santa Fe.
Was it the batteries?
No, he got ran over by the back end of a truck.
He had a bag of batteries?
No, he was just a guy walking, and the truck came up on the curb, knocked him down, ran over him right across there, and just blew everything out.
Oh,
just
no.
like popped him like a zit.
Oh.
I'm over there and I'm snapping photos of that. You know, I had the one guy in Commerce. It was two cousins. They're truck drivers, long haul drivers. So there's this vacant warehouse. So he's got a fully loaded rig. The trailer's fully loaded. So he backs it up against the loading dock so he can leave it there. Takes they unhook.
Yeah.
He drives the truck home, and in the morning they come back, and he goes and he thinks he sets the pin, but he didn't. He starts to pull out, and his cousin goes behind the truck to make sure the lock is still good and it hasn't been tampered with. Well, the guy sees he didn't set the pin, and he's only like 5 feet off the wall, and he backs up and slams it into it. And then he pulls away, and he's looking for his cousin. He looks back there, and the guy's laying there. And when you go look at him, this was all crushed in from this part. Just completely flat. His legs, his quads, were this big.
Oh, pushed down.
It pushed everything down, like in sausage.
Yeah. You see, we just spread like butter, man. Oh, I can withstand that. No, we're nothing. We are. I've seen some terrible things like the degloving thing where the hands come off, the skin comes off. I can't see that.
Slippage.
That's so freaking nasty. And you had to do coroner stuff, right?
You first get to homicide, you're on loan to
Coroner's office.
Coroner's office for a week, and you go out with different coroner investigators, and you see stuff, and they teach you, based on the amount of slippage, because after a few hours, the skin literally slides off. The top epidermal layers start just peeling off. They teach you about lividity and stuff. Like I remember in patrol going to check the welfare of a house
all the time
over off of Lou Dillon, and it was a little old lady, and she had 4 cats. You go in the house, and it's got that old people smell in the house, and there's a little spittoon, the little buckets that they always hacking and spitting into. Well, she's on the TV's on.
Cats.
She's on like a rocker recliner, and she's laying like this, and she's dead. And there's a cat on her chest. They'd already eaten her lips. They'd eaten her nose off and her eyelids off, and they were nibbling on her ears. But they had already been eating on her fingertips because they had nothing to drink, so they bit her fingertips off because the lividity, the blood hang there, and they were drinking the blood.
That's why I will never own a cat, because of the stuff I've seen with cats. Cats, and it doesn't take them long to start either.
I remember being off of Alameda by the tracks. There was a body dump when I was a patrol, and we get there, and I think it was Godfrey and myself, and I just remember that it was a broad daylight, and we're like looking, and the skin's got like it's got like white spots, and Ed stands over it, and the shadow falls over the body, and all of a sudden the little spots start moving.
Oh no!
And we're like, he stops, and
with
the heat, stop. It was maggots just under the skin.
Oh God! Maggots had burrowed into the skin.
Well, there was
They'll go under skin?
It was underneath the skin. So this was we're on one table at the coroner's office with our autopsy. And then not the next table, but the next table over, there was a decomp. And the coroner doesn't do it. The technician, he's the one that gets the body ready. He's already done the slices. He's got everything ready. And then the medical examiner just comes over and looks in and starts pulling parts off and weighing stuff. So he's already done the cut around the scalp and peeled back the skin. And then they take the saw and they cut it. And then they have this little itty bitty like chisel, and they just pop. And then when they pry it open, it normally goes and the suction.
No.
But this time it didn't do it. He just cracks it like this. For it's sawed, and as soon as he calls a crack at that skull cap just falls off, and it just pours out maggots. And they come flying out, and they go onto the table, and they actually overflowed the little drain area on the table and start falling onto the floor. And there was no brain left. It was all maggots.
Ate it all.
Yeah.
God damn it. Stop. Uncle. Oh, man.
But you can't smell it because you got these masks on.
Oh,
you can't smell nothing.
No. I had a coroner in here, and we were talking about it, and it was the smell thing. And she talked about the fact that most of them don't do anything. No mask, no nothing. And
they don't.
And I talked about how I remember the old homicide guys would light a cigar and walk in with a cigar. Cheaper cigar, the better, because it lasts longer. And some guys would put Vicks. But there's none of that works.
Let me tell you about Vicks. When we were in the academy, you guys went and did your tour of the coroner's office in the academy, right? So we're there, and we're getting ready to watch. So we're all putting Vicks on here. Remember, that's like a petroleum jelly. That just absorbed the smell and brought it. We're like, we couldn't get rid of the smell.
So Vicks doesn't work because it absorbs. And people were talking about facial hair. It stays in your mustache. It stays in your beard. It's worse when you have a mustache or a beard because it's the smell. I mean, you can't get it out of your body. Just the smell of a decomp. It just sticks, dude. It's like glue, bro. You can wash your hands.
It's the same with fires. Especially if there's the body that burnt in the fire.
Crispy critters are the worst because that smell isn't like anything else. I said it here. It's not like barbecue, bro. It's our bodies stink. And I know it's because of the oils, the gels, the hair, and the creams we use, and all the shit we have in our skin. What we eat too makes understandable. But damn, I'm gonna have to put some kind of what do you call it? A disclaimer thing. Don't watch this because you'll get sick. No, that's all good, man, because that's what we dealt with. It's not hidden. That's exactly what you dealt with all the time, especially at homicide. Patrol, you see everything too, because especially car crashes all the time.
Those are the worst.
Yeah, because body, car don't match. But the homicide stuff, I remember, was interesting. The guys would go to coroner's office. And the guys would have to go to the coroner. I got to go to the coroner. And you guys would watch sometimes. Watch them.
You watch every one of your victims,
yep,
murder victim. You have to observe the autopsy, so you can testify on behalf of the coroner at the prelim.
Yep, I get it.
Was it Prop 13 or something like that?
Yeah, I get it.
So you take like a homicide. You've got remember the first report is just really basic.
Yeah,
it's basic. But then their sup is in more detail.
Yeah, because they can get the first.
And then everybody else's subs are in more detail.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get subs from the coroner's office. Mm-hmm. You get and you may have 2 or 3 different subs from them.
Yeah.
Or depending whatever is going on.
Yes.
So at the end, your report is everybody's report all in one thing.
Yep.
Because what people don't realize, we have to put together a homicide book,
mm-hmm,
which includes photos. So you've got copies of photos. And your book is about this thick. It's about 3 to 4 inches thick.
Yeah.
Because it goes to the DA when you file, and one is given to the defense.
Yep.
And if it's a officer-involved shooting or a deputy-involved shooting, then that has to be taken over to the DA's office for review to see whether it's not capital. It's just to the DA's. They have a shooting team that.
Oh yeah, the regular shooting team
that they investigate all shootings. And then you get whether it was justified or
it's so much shit. That's what I've said here. When you go to court and let's say you're a juror, there's a guy sitting there on trial for something. It's an act of God that he's freaking sitting there because there's so much shit that takes him to sit there. They're all trying to get rid of it. They don't want him to be there. The DA is trying to dispo it unless it's something where it's like, oh, he needs life or whatever. They're trying to give some years away. The attorney's trying to get rid of it. Everybody's trying to get rid of it. But if he's sitting there and you're a juror on that case, I'm gonna give you some advice. If he doesn't testify, take it away. He's guilty. I don't care what you say, because any innocent man's gonna want to, or innocent woman's gonna want to say, I didn't do it. The reason he doesn't testify is why? Because you get to impeach him with all the shit he's done in his whole life. So if he's sitting there, that's step one. It took forever to get him there. He didn't get it. He's not out of there because there's nothing to give him because he's so screwed up. And the second reason, if he doesn't testify, yeah, he's guilty twice. So those are your keys. That right there, you should already know. And the third thing I'm gonna tell you is, every time we file a case, we have to go to the filing DA. That guy doesn't want to be the filing DA. He hates nobody wants to be the filing DA. It's the worst job in the district attorney's office. If you're there,
it's a punishment.
You screwed up. You screwed up somewhere so bad that they say you have to file cases. So every morning we would line up in that hallway, and that guy would be sitting at the end of the hallway, and you have to show him your case and try to present it. And then he'd say, well, I'm going to file it, or no, you need more information. Go away. He hates life, man. That man or that woman hates you, hates his own job, hates the world, because he's on punishment. For him to file something, dude, come on. They don't want to file shit because they hear every time they get a bad case from the guys that are still working in the cases. That guy is like a roadblock. He's the issue. To get past him to go to those two spots, he's freaking guilty, man. There's you hear stuff where, oh, an innocent man went to jail. I really would love to see that case. I would really love to see an actual innocent man that went to jail. I know a lot of people say, oh, he's an innocent man because they found out something, witness lied. That's why the DA won't file anything on one witness. Nowadays, you need 12 things for a person to be even on trial. So what my point is that I hate to hear that people say, well, I think the cops are corrupt. Or I think, dude, you can't do any of that shit anymore. It's so easy to get away with stuff now because nobody wants to put anybody in jail. I know you were at the end of it, but right now it's even worse. I wouldn't be a cop now. No one's getting filed on.
And then, like, people think, oh, they're tapping my phones.
Come on.
There's only a few reasons: kidnapping, major drugs trafficking, and murder.
Yep,
that's it.
Yep. To do a wire is
or treason. Acts of treason, but that's a federal wire. But
dude,
and then to keep a wire going is so much work. That's why we have a whole division, a whole bureau dedicated to wires.
Yep, and the rules to once you have a wire.
Every 3 days, dude, you got to re-up it.
Even the fact that the phone call starts, oh, I can't listen to it. Turn it off. I have to figure out whether this is pertinent to my case. If it's not, I'm supposed to turn it off. I'm not allowed to listen to her talk about her recipes. And you only give it so many minutes or seconds actually before you got to go turn off. It's not pertinent. There's so many rules.
Yep. Or your suspect and his wife, your suspect and his attorney, your suspect and clergy.
Yep.
You can't listen. You got to diminish.
Yep.
Turn it off.
Yes. And my job was we were doing the jail. So many rules, dude. And I used to get so mad because someone said, I want to do the jail thing. And I hand them 50 CDs full of stuff. I'm not going to listen to that shit. No one's going to sit there. And if I give you 4 hours worth of audio and I give you 7 discs, no one's going to listen to that.
That's why we give it to the defense.
Let you listen to it. And then they try to transcribe it. A lot of stuff like that, but it's not an easy job. It's a very, 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 very hard job. And I think TV fucks it up because TV makes it look like it's so easy, Just go out and grab a guy, put him in a car, and he's done. Oh, man.
Well, I crack up at TV like CSI. They don't go out there investigating the case.
No, come on.
They come out there and go, okay, I need photos of this. I need this to go to chemical. I need this to go to here. I need this to go to here.
There's such a joke. I remember a stupid side story. It's not even, I'm going off topic, but I was at I don't remember what it was, but they were doing a movie. And the guy was a deputy. The actor was a deputy, and he was wearing a Class A. And I was getting on the elevator, and they're filming the movie, and I looked at him, and he looks at me, and dude, like, we're supposed to be twins, right? He's trying to fit in my uniform. And he looks at me, and he goes, goes, "What's wrong, deputy?" I go, "That's all wrong, bro." He goes, "What?" And he called the person over, like I guess a wardrobe.
Yeah.
And I go, "We don't wear those shoes. We wear boots. We don't do this. That belt's wrong." And she goes, "What's wrong?" I go, "None of that's correct."
If I had LAPD smooth belt.
Dude, he had Corf Rams on and you're working the field. I said, no. We don't wear none of that shit. And and I fixed this little tie. So anything going on? Anything new?
Nope.
Retirement, walking the beach.
Walking the beach.
You haven't bought a dog?
No.
No dogs. Why not?
It was my last two have passed, and I don't want to.
Your dogs are
badass.
That's why, because the standard of that dog. I remember going to your house and you did something and both dogs walked over, sat on a little mat, like a little rug. And everybody's walking around. They did not move. They're just looking at everybody.
I used to put food on their noses.
Just nothing.
Leave it. And they wouldn't. And we finally had them trained so that you could open the door and there'd be a cat sitting on the porch. And they'd leave it.
See, that's why you don't get another dog, because they couldn't live up to it. Because you're going to get some dogs going to be, like my brother has a dog right now. Dude, all it does is run all over screaming, just barking and gnawing everything. Like, dude, you can't. He just had surgery. How the hell are you going to keep up with that dog? It's like a baby. It's like a rambunctious baby.
It's like the ex had two little ones. And those things, when we got married, I had all the furniture. I had a formal living room area that I never sat on, except when I had guests and stuff.
Plastic.
No, I didn't put the plastic. I don't have Jerry curl.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. And I actually asked that one time. I was at a house.
My grandma had the plastic shit on everything.
I asked the lady, I go, why do you have the plastic on her? She goes, my kids all put Jerry curl in their hair and they just stain my couches.
Stain my couches. No, it's true. You're right.
And stuff. It was like one of the houses had cockroaches running in a line like ants. Mm-hmm. And I remember back to Hondo, Jim Harrell, he crushed it with the back of his flashlight. We got called there 2 weeks later, and that crushed cockroach was still on the wall.
That's another part of the job. Disgusting
cockroaches,
rats, mice inside the houses. I remember we lifted a couch and a freaking rat. He dropped it and went out and sat in the car. I stood by the car. I'm not going back in there.
I remember was at a house. We called it the Hearst Castle. It was the Hearst family on 76th Place. The drapes were all closed, covering the windows. And we're like, somebody goes, get some light in here. They take and they slide the curtains open, and all these cockroaches just rain down.
Oh, my God.
And then the rest of the day you're itching. Like, oh, my God.
I went to one of your guys' out. It was Ralph Hernandez's. And you'd get to know the signs right away. Because that stucco is called everybody calls it popcorn. It's acoustic ceiling. If you see those little red, looks like rust around the edges,
they're fecal matter. They're dropping.
It's their crap. Around the lamps, you'll see the little rust, and you're going, okay, there's going to be something's going to jump out. So when you open the drawers, I'm like, okay, here it comes. And they just start running. The worst was Ralph's, because I was doing a job getting a DVR, and the bed it was a bedroom. So it was a king bed, and there was kids sleeping on the bed, like kids do. And the roaches are just walking all over them, like walking on their blankets. And I'm like, oh,
let me ask you this. How come old school Hispanics leave their food on the stove overnight? They don't put it in the refrigerator. They leave it out.
It's not old school. It's dirty.
And then you open up, we'd go into the houses and we'd go, ready. We hit the light on in the kitchen. And then they have the refried beans on the table. And all the cockroaches come running out.
I'm going to tell you a Liam Gallagher story. We did one in L.A. We're in Century's area. And like you said, pots and pans full of roaches on the oven. In the kitchen, no milk, 2 little babies. On the floor they put the blanket down. They lay them on the floor. Yeah. Roaches. And there was a roach trap next to the baby's blanket with the mouse in it and roaches. And I said, how come you didn't pick that up? He goes, because we're going to catch more. Anyway, so this is going to keep going. So this is disgusting, right? Well, you know how we had Mart with us, right?
Yes.
The girls from Children's Services, outstanding girls, by the way. I said, they go, what do you want to do, Adam? I go, I want all of it. We're taking the kids. We're not leaving any of these kids here. And Liam stood up in front of in the living room, and there was 4 Hispanic women. That's all that was in the house besides the kids. And Liam, Liam, he said,
No filter.
oh, zero, dude. He looked at them and he said, I get being poor, but there's no excuse for being dirty. And I was like, oh shit! And we took the kids to kid jail. I mean, we took them away and gave them to grandma or somebody where it was clean. But we had them in our office, and those kids were running around all over the damn place. And we bought them McDonald's, I think. And those kids, they were sitting at my desk, and I think it was, who was it? I forgot who it was. Why'd you bring the kids? Well, we got to wait for the grandma to pick them up. And I remember thinking what you're just thinking. They're going to have good food. Their grandma's probably going to take way better care of them. And the lesson is there. Now, Mart, they're on the radar. You know what they do.
Right.
They go back and they just check. And they would tell us. I remember talking to one of the girls saying, she'd come back, oh, I checked that place and it was all good. I go, that's a gangster house. You went by yourself? She goes, yeah, we all go by ourselves to go do a welfare check on the kids, make sure they're okay. I go, we were there because of gangsters. And you took the kids last time. You could possibly take them now. You need to call us. We'll go with you. No, they're fine. They're badasses. First of all, those girls didn't care. And they would play with them. They had their car seats in the car already. It was awesome. Mm-hmm. That's why I loved OSS, because we would take everybody with us. Remember we had the metal detector guys to check for guns in the floor, and we had the gun
certain
dog.
houses we'd take the city inspector, the housing inspectors.
Yep.
And they'd condemn the house.
I brought the old, called them 290 geese, or the older guys with the metal detectors. I would bring them all my
prospectors.
Yeah, the prospectors. There's a team of prospectors the sheriff's department has with metal detectors.
And metal rods that they could poke in the ground to see how soft it was.
I did a house in the one-ways real quick, and we were done. So everybody's standing, congregate in the front yard. Everybody's trying to get their shit. We got your stuff, police your stuff. So we're finding our flashlights and all that shit. We're all standing in the front yard. And the people used to make fun of me because I would bring them out. Why do you bring them? They found me guns before. They found me bullets. They found me all kinds of shit. So the prospectors, those huge trees that are they're kind of narrow, like round, like a bucket, but they go really high. I don't know what they're called, but they line them up like a fence. He's got his prospect. He's doing the trees, dude. He's going up and down the trees, and everybody's looking at me like, "Hey, Adam, you brought one of your old buddies here." Dude, it starts beeping. I swear, this is a true story. He starts beeping, beep, 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 and he looks at me and I go, "Oh shit!" And I walk over, 45 in the bush. Just as a joke. This is a true story, dude. I see. That's why you bring out the trust prospectors. Right. Greatest guys. They're all vets, World War II vets, Korea. Tell you stories for days, and they would call. When I would call them, I said, "It's 3 a.m. Oh, we'll be there." Dude, they're 2 o'clock. They were standing there with their little stuff ready to go.
Remember last time, the sound man here wanted to know more about my academy class, because I was talking about class 214. Mm-hmm. And remember, I'd go for interviews and stuff, and everybody said, "Are you pre or post 214?" Yeah. That was the same, and I'd always say, "I'm neither."
Yep.
And they would get mad at me. They'd be like, "Why? Why do you always mess around?" Mm-hmm. I have a reputation of being a jokester, And I go, "I'm not messing around." And they're like, "You're either pre-214 or post-214." I go, "I'm not neither." And they're like, "That can't be possible." I go, "I am 214.
Yep. Because that was a cutoff where you had to go out or not go out.
We were told in the 17th week, 6 people left, never came back from lunch.
What?
Because it was mandatory patrol, and you didn't pick where you went.
And they didn't
6 people didn't come back from our lunch.
Then what did they sign up for?
I don't know. They wanted to be bailiffs.
That's the funniest thing is when we left OSS, we took off at the same time. I went to Tech Ops, you went to Homicide. You left me a message within 2 weeks of going to Homicide, and I still have it on my phone. I didn't pick up. So the message was, "Hey, this is Ron Duval from Homicide. You better pick up the phone because I'm a homicide detective now, motherfucker."
I don't remember that, but I do. So the real reason I kept working as long as I did is I was trying to buy off both of my ex-wives using my deferred comp.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have to pay anything.
You're trying to even
And the first one I did. And I was able to pay her cash from my deferred comp. They actually just bifurcated it to her.
Really?
Right. And they told me, which I didn't know, I could have done that earlier. I could have done that when I had the money in her to pay her, because I was originally only supposed to pay like $15,000, but over the years, I had the interest and everything accumulated was $44,000. But nobody tells you that stuff.
You okay? Did you make it?
Yeah.
I can get you a, what do you call it? It's a caffeine pill or something.
I'm good.
All right, man.
Still got
Thank
an
you for
hour and a
coming.
half drive home.
Thanks for coming out, brother. I appreciate it.
Your hands are so soft, Adam.
They're supple. You asshole.